Hi, I'm Sophie Taylor, Regional Partnerships Director for the UK here at View. Today we're doing a Programmatic Perspectives with my guest.
Hello, my name is Mark Halliday. I'm Director of Programmatic for JCDecaux in the UK.
What's a recent development at your company that you're excited about?
Okay, we've loads to choose from, but probably the one that is front of mind at the moment because it's just having such an impact across the whole business. We retained our contract with Transport for London, which was announced in April, for all of the bus shelters and street furniture contract in London. And as part of that, we made a commitment to install 1,000 new screens into London, and made a commitment also to put 500 of those in this year. So that rollout has been pretty aggressive so far, to be honest. We're putting in incredible new screens, 86 inches. They are 30% bigger than usual, use 20% less energy. They're just really beautiful, beautiful screens. So some of our bus shelters are going to just have an upgrade. Some of them are now going to be double-sided for video or for digital, sorry. So yeah, it's really, really exciting. We're also investing into some real sort of up-and-coming new sort of villages within London. So areas like Battersea, Wembley, Canning Town. So yeah, the whole of London really is getting an upgrade in bus street furniture. The screens look incredible, and yeah, it's lovely to go out and have something so positive to take to the market.
Great, and I look forward to seeing those across London.
They're rolling out every single day, so yes, you will see them, no doubt, as you go around London.
Yeah. So outside of London, your inventory sits across the UK. Which locations have been most popular recently?
Kind of everything, to be honest. We have there's been a real swing in momentum towards programmatic as more varied buyers are interested in that route to market. So yeah, that we have inventory in airports. There's been a huge amount of demand across Edinburgh and Heathrow, as in a sort of a post-COVID world, as travellers are kind of soaring back through, pun not intended, back through airports, and that's a real premium Heathrow audience. Massive demand there. We have environments. I've already talked about London and our street furniture, but that also sort of ties into a wider theme around retail. So arguably you could say that airport is retail, given how much money goes through in duty free. But we also have shopping malls. We are on so many high streets around the country. Excuse me. Also supermarkets. So this really sort of taps into a real shift around retail media budgets, and arguably outdoor is the last chance to influence consumers before they while on the high street, and maybe try and direct them in store. So a lot of momentum over into those formats as well. Malls and rail as well, because they have got such great reach, because we have video content on there as well. They're extremely popular. And one of the big trends we've really seen is, I would say maybe 2 years ago, most of the focus on programmatic digital out of home, certainly within JCDecaux, was on our smaller but digital 6-sheet estate. We're seeing now a lot more demand coming through for large format. We ran a campaign recently for NatWest, planned through the IPG team, and Rapport, where we had loads of our tower formats. Also, we're seeing in rail some of our large format there, because they're just so impactful, great video, massive standout. So it's a really long way of saying everything is seeing an uptick in demand at the moment. But I think that's really just as a result of the just momentum behind programmatic, full stop.
Yeah, and you do have a good range of inventory.
We do have a great range.
Certainly. So what do you think JCDecaux UK does particularly well when it comes to programmatic digital out of home?
Maybe it's best to answer this by thinking about JCDecaux UK's sort of core values. Our core values are front and center in everything that we do, really. So they're part of our appraisals, they're part of our objectives for the year, they're on our website, on our intranet, so we kind of see them, we're exposed to them all of the time, and we kind of celebrate them all the time. So one of those values is around being one team, and externally, I guess that's more around sort of collaboration. So it's like, how can we be an extension of the team of our buyers, whether that's clients, whether it's media agencies, digital agencies, and out-of-home specialists. And we really feel like that we are, sort of pioneers, and we're just so passionate about programmatic that we are really happy to go in and talk to anyone who's interested in programmatic. And that could be existing out-of-home specialists. It could be programmatic teams, digital planning teams, sort of media planning teams. And we sort of really talk up the role for, in some cases, why out-of-home, but in many cases, why programmatic out-of-home. So yeah, we're working on the DSPs as well. We spend so much time with the DSPs. So yeah, I think we're really collaborative. We've structured our team to make sure that we can service all of our buying points. And we are always going to market with great research, great insights, great case studies, and banging the drum really for programmatic digital out-of-home.
Yeah, I agree that they're a real team of evangelists.
Well, thank you for saying so. Another thing is that we are, another value is around test and learn. So we are constantly working across the whole JCDecaux business to say, as we innovate, how can we make that programmatic first? So that is often with our data partnerships or working with our landlords. Some of our landlords like TfL, like Tesco, like Westfield, Landsec, a lot of our malls and National Rail, we all have incredible data, first-party data. And we can look at how we can leverage that for better insight. And that could be around, mobility patterns. It could be around times when there might be particularly high attention. It could be looking at closing the loop, especially with retail, where we can look to see whether people have been exposed to ads, whether there's been an uptick in sales. So test and learn is another big area. I would say choose to care is another one of our values. We choose to care, I think, really by we realized a few years ago that there were no specific awards in the market for programmatic digital out-of-home. There might be one award as part of a wider out-of-home awards, but we felt that there's so much diversity and nuance within out-of-home that it deserved its own awards. So we partnered up with New Digital Age and we created our own. So we did that in 2024 and again this year. This year it doubled in size. We had almost 3 times as many people who entered awards. We had twice the people there who were there on the day. And because of the nature of programmatic being real time, we wanted to relook at the whole mechanic and dynamic of an award ceremony. So we actually made the voting real time. So people in the audience can actually vote for the people they want to win. So everybody who's shortlisted does a presentation, they talk through their strategy, they talk through the results. So, I mean, the worst case scenario, people go there, it's almost like a training day because they can hear the best brands, the most innovative, progressive work in the UK. And then they can get to vote for their winners. So that's brilliant as well. So I think that they're probably some of the areas where we really lean in more than most.
Great. Can you share a recent campaign that you think highlights the power of programmatic particularly well?
Well, actually, we just announced recently that we've just hit our 1 billion impressions sold for the year. So as part of that, we've been doing a number of sort of talkie heads videos on our LinkedIn. So all of the members of our team have been talking through some of their highlights for the year, and it's really, really varied. So we've had everything from Guernsey Tourist Board, where they use live flight data to sort of to try and appeal to consumers in rush hour periods, sort of saying, imagine like escaping now, the next flight to Guernsey is at 7:04 p.m. So that was brilliant because it integrated live data. We've got a partnership with Mail Metro Media, where every time they set a cover app on the Metro, they're looking at can they expand that into out of home to get higher attention, higher reach. We've done a number of different campaigns with those guys. Boots have been a massive investor into programmatic digital out of home and look at a load of different sort of DCO solutions. I called out NatWest, who I think I mentioned earlier, in terms of what they're doing in large format, which is really exciting. So it's been loads, but maybe if I look back at the live awards, one which really jumped out at me was one for Flagstone, which was planned and bought by Skyrise. And it was really looking at how they can utilize all of their data, which is a mix of sort of spend and telco data, to really understand who their target audience was. And the measurement around it was so robust. And they really showed that investment in programmatic digital out of home led to performance improvement. So they really had like a sort of, rather than brand uplift, they had real sort of performance uplift. I'm going to have to refer to my notes here. They saw a 19% performance increase and a 21% increase in active customers. So it's not often you hear about programmatic digital out of home being thought of in the realm of performance budgets. So that one really stood out for me, and it's just really smart planning, brilliant measurement, and just showed that massive effectiveness for programmatic and digital out of home.
Great. Looking ahead, how do you see the role of programmatic digital out of home evolving in the next year or so? What is JCDecaux UK doing to kind of help with that future?
So I think the programmatic democratizes out of home, and it used to be a few years ago where you could either speak directly to the out of home media owners, or many people go through an out of home agency. And that's still the case in the majority of cases, and actually a lot of the out of home specialists are really embracing programmatic in their own right, investing in technologies like planning and data planning tools, and even their own DSPs. But there's been a real sort of democratization of out of home, because so many either point solution DSPs or omnichannel DSPs have got access to out of home. So what we are seeing is, yes, there's more within the realms of an out-of-home budget. More of that is going through to programmatic now as a preferred route to market, because of the advantages you have in the flexibility of buying, the accuracy of the data targeting. But we're also now seeing a big swing in the role of out-of-home as part of an omnichannel budget. So you have programmatic teams who historically their bread and butter has been displaying video, but now these more sort of what were nascent channels are now being much more sort of always on channels. So connected TV, audio, out of home. And all of our research would suggest that when you put out of home into an on-channel plan, it makes your other channels work harder. Your click-through rates increase, your listen-through rates increase, your view-through rates increase, your cost per acquisition decreases. Why is that? It's because you can build such amazing cover and reach with outdoor. Arguably, it's the last sort of broadcast channel, and it has really high attention, and it's a channel which builds trust. And it always sounds a bit creepy, but it has a priming effect. So if people sort of see an online ad and like, oh, that looks too good to be true, but they say, but they think to themselves, well, I've seen that everywhere. I've seen it at rail stations, at shopping malls. I've seen it on large format in on the roadside. It builds up that trust and encourages people to have more faith in the legitimacy of a campaign, or just it builds up intrigue for them to then go into other channels. So yeah, I say multi-channels is a really big area. What are we doing? Well, we're working with our own marketing and insights team, our data teams, to constantly evolve our product, to bring more data sources in, to go out with more research, more insights, educate more teams. We're opening up a whole hub on our website, which is going to be launching very soon. Well, it's launched already for the out-of-home specialists, but we're going to be bringing it to the programmatic specialists soon, which will be a one-stop shop for insights, case studies. You know, there's loads of things. Our packages that we put together. So I think, sort of going back to our values, choosing to care, customer first, I think we spend a lot of time educating and going out, talking about the benefits, that sort of that catalyst effect of putting out of home into an on-the-channel plan. And then we've got other trends like retail media, which I've already spoken to. But yeah, I think the the number of potential buyers is increasing hugely across independent agencies, digital agencies, programmatic teams, and that is really helping scale programmatic digital out of home.
And then the education of those teams.
The education
is really important.
And we really feel that we are one of the leading media owners in the UK, and we like to think we're the most passionate about programmatic. So, and I think that shines through, and we're often asked to come in and speak to agency teams, to clients direct, and DSPs love us to come along. And we do that often in partnership with other media owners as well. But yeah, we are, we'd like to think we're the most passionate in the industry.
Great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.